Welcome, class, to a workshop on Coach Joe rules. In this lesson, we will review Coach Joe rule number 38, which states, unit tests should be deterministic. In an adventure game application, it is common to encounter a random monster. Let's say there is a method that randomly creates 2 to 5 orc monsters. There could be a supporting test to verify 3 monsters are created. When we run the test, sometimes it passes, and sometimes it fails. A test should not pass one time and fail another time with no code change. This kind of test is not deterministic. What is a deterministic test? Provided there is no code change to the test or the application code, the test will consistently behave with the same result after one or many runs. Sometimes it's beneficial to recognize tests that are not deterministic. 2 common mistakes are tests that are dependent on other tests and external dependencies. Imagine there is a test that verifies an order entry record is added into a database, and the following test verifies the summary query includes the previous order entry record. What happens if the testing system runs the second test first? The test will fail. The testing framework may not run the tests in a specific order. These tests are not deterministic. The same thing is true if one test updates a system file and another test depends on the result of the previous test. The test might fail. Again, the testing framework may not run the tests in the same order every time. Don't make your tests dependent on other tests. UI testing frameworks may have a single test with multiple steps. Each step is dependent on the previous step. That is fine. Just do not make a test dependent on another test. When it comes to external dependencies, in the opening example, the random monster test was not deterministic. The test is looking for exactly 3 monsters every time. The random generator is an external dependency that is producing 2 to 5 monsters. The behavior is not consistent every time, therefore the test is not deterministic. Avoid directly testing random numbers. There are many other external dependencies that may produce non-deterministic tests. Tests involving the date or time can produce inconsistent results. Input provided from a keyboard or mouse typically leads to a non-deterministic test. A file system, database, or web service can produce consistent results. However, because the connection to these resources could be interrupted, these external dependencies can lead to non-deterministic tests. There can be many other external dependencies that make a test non-deterministic. Why is it bad? Non-deterministic tests that fail will block the deployment process. Team members might lose confidence with the testing process and find it useless when there are false positives or false negative results. Often, this leads to ignored tests which reduce the code coverage and test quality. Also, non-deterministic tests might condition the developers to ignore legitimate test failures. The intent of the non-deterministic test is important. Let's make it more consistent and reliable. In most cases, the purpose is not to test the external dependency, instead test the code that uses the external dependency. The most common solution is to utilize dependency inversion and a mocking strategy. Here is an example. Place an external dependency in its own class. Implement an interface to avoid tightly coupled classes. With the use of dependency injection, the class needing the dependency will have a private property with the interface as the data type. The constructor accepts this data type and assigns it to the property. Another option is to have a setter method accept this data type. Now the dependency is injected into the class and available for other methods. Because of the dependency inversion principle, this class does not know if the dependency is the real resource like a random number generator, database, or a test double that returns a consistent result. With the use of dependency inversion and a mocking strategy, you can create tests that are deterministic, reliable, and fast. I challenge you to create deterministic tests in your applications. Leave a comment down below with non-deterministic testing issues you and your team have faced. Look for other helpful Coach Joe videos. Remember, future senior developers, make it work, prove it works, then make it better. Ready? Break!